Hello and welcome to Brand Your Passion, the show that helps you turn the thing you love the most into something that people know and love you for. I'm your host, Holly Arnett, the brand coach for creatives, and I'm on a mission to make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. If you're ready to get more eyes on your work, more dollars in your pocket, and more creativity in your life, you're in the right place. Welcome. Let's brand your passion. In this week's episode, I want to continue with kind of the last mini series that I've been doing that goes through the three main stages of branding. The first one being brand strategy, or what I call kind of the clarity portion of things. Then the second being brand design or creativity, that's what I like to call it. And then the last one, which is what I want to talk to you about today, is consistency. And consistency is so important to branding. It's probably the number one thing that you've heard before about branding. People always say that consistency is key, and they're right. It is so important to think about where your brand is and how it's displayed or put out there, and how consistently that's done across everything that you touch across the internet or in real life. All of these things need to be consistent. In the last couple of episodes in this mini series, I've been talking to you about baking metaphor, where brand strategy is like the recipe and the instructions and the ingredients for whatever it is that you're going to make. Then brand design is the actual doing, the baking of the cake. It's where you turn the recipe into something that people can eat, touch, smell, and experience. Brand consistency is really about building your reputation as someone who bakes this cake, who is really good at baking, that people know that if they want this delicious strawberry sponge, that you are the person to come to. And consistency is the way to do this, because the more consistent you are, the more people will come to know you for what it is that you do. They'll come to know you for your colors, brand identity, and the way that you speak. All of this comes from being really consistent in doing those things and doing them over and over again, the same way every single time. The word consistent is defined as acting or doing something in the same way over time, so to be accurate every time. It also means to be compatible or in agreement with something. In terms of your brand, that means doing things every single time that are compatible and agree with your brand, your values, your mission, your vision. Everything should be consistent with those things. Creating a consistent brand is really all about creating experiences that are similar, accurate, and aligned with your brand vision, with your values, with everything that you defined in the clarity portion. Everything that you then do after that needs to be aligned and consistent with that clarity. Why is it so important to be consistent, especially as an independent creative? You know, I often get asked, your work isn't always the same. Maybe you're doing work for clients, or you're just inspired and want to use different colors or different whatever. It can be quite hard as a creative to be consistent. Even though it's hard, it's important, and I'm going to tell you why. One of the biggest goals as creatives, as people who want to get our work out there to share more creativity with the world, is to be more visible. According to a study by Lucid Press, brands that are consistently presented experience 3 to 4 times more visibility. So that means if you're trying to get your name out there, trying to share your work with the world, if you're trying to reach a bigger audience, consistency is really what you need to be focusing on, because the more consistent you are, the more visible you're going to be, and the more eyes you're going to get on your work, the more you're going to be able to grow your audience, the more you're going to get people to buy your products, your print, join your Patreon, or subscribe on YouTube. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, if you're trying to get more visible, consistency is key. And then I also know that finances is not always the main driver behind everything that we do, especially as creatives. We're passionate people. We're driven by an innate need to create. Finances are important. We need to make revenue. It's a vital part of growing a successful business, is making money and getting the money that we need in order to be able to create more things, sell more products, and all that good stuff. There is an average revenue increase associated with consistent brands of 23%. That is like a huge percent increase in revenue associated with being consistent. It's not insignificant at all. It's a huge percentage. If you want to grow your revenue by nearly 25%, consistency is what you need to focus on, because it's what's going to get people to come back to you, what you're known for, stay loyal, trust you, and recommend you to other people. So consistency is key. Also, 60% of US millennials expect consistent experiences with brands, whether in person, online, on the phone, in store, wherever they experience your brand, they're expecting it to be consistent. So if they hop onto your social media and see one thing, and then they go in store and it's completely different and the experience feels really weird, and then they talk to your customer service and that's different again, you're creating a really confusing, all over the show experience, and that's not going to get people coming back for more. These people are expecting consistency, so we've got to give it to them. So I want to give you 5 main reasons why consistency is important for you to consider as a creative, and why you need to make sure that your brand is consistent. Number 1 is that consistency creates clarity. Now, we have already talked about creating clarity for yourself and kind of creating that clarity for other people. The way that you maintain that clarity and help your audience to know exactly what you do, that you're the person to come for this one thing, the way that you do that is through consistency. The more that you repeat the same consistent messaging, the more that you repeat the same consistent design, it's going to create clarity in the minds of your audience, because they're going to know what you're about straight away. They're going to see your Instagram, they're going to see you in person, and it's all going to be consistent. They're not going to be confused. You're going to have super clear information about your brand and your business. Consistency also increases recognition. I've already mentioned this, but the more that you repeat consistently your messaging, design, vision, and your mission and all of this stuff, the more that people are going to recognize you for that. Personally, for me, I have consistently used the color orange. My color palette has been orange, black, and white, and I've recently added in a nice red and blue. I've repeated this use of this same color palette over time, and now people recognize me for that color palette. People see orange pictures on Instagram, they're like, probably Holly. I have this distinct style that I've repeated over and over again consistently, and so people recognize me for that now. It's the same with talking about what I do. I have recently niched down and figured out exactly who my audience is, you people, and so I have been consistently repeating the fact that I am the brand coach for creatives. That is all of my messaging. I'm consistently repeating my vision of making the world a more creative place, one brand at a time, and sharing this stuff consistently on all my platforms everywhere is what's helping people to then recognize me as the brand coach for creatives. So you've got to keep repeating this stuff consistently, and people will then recognize you. Consistency also means reliability. So in the mind of your audience, the more consistent you are, the more reliable you are. If you say that you are going to show up every week and do a podcast, for example, hey, you do that consistently, it feels the same every episode, you've got the same like music and it all looks the same, it's the same quality, you're talking about the same topic, or overarching topic with topics underneath. But if you're doing that consistently, then your audience knows they can rely on you. They know, okay, Holly's a reliable brand. I know she's reliable because she shows up every week. She's consistent in everything that she does. I just know that I can depend on her. Consistency increases that reliability. It shows that you're a brand that your audience can rely on. Consistency, therefore, also increases trust. And I don't know if you've heard this before, I think I've mentioned it in other podcasts, but the process that people need to go to in order to buy from you or invest in you in some way is that they need to know, like, and then trust you. Trust is the big one. Trust is what people need to get to in order to make that final investment. So they can know you, they can know what you're about, that's cool, they recognize you, that's fine. When they like you, that's cool. Maybe they download some of your freebies. They like what you're doing. They might follow your podcast or read your blog every so often. They like you. But when they trust you and that they have that innate trust that you can help them, or that you are a trustworthy brand that's worth investing in, that's when they're going to buy from you. They're going to book your service, buy your prints online, that they're going to invest in your Patreon. Trust is what you need to build, and consistency helps you do that because it shows you're a trustworthy brand. They get to know you really well. You're talking about the same topics or the same themes all the time. They can trust in your identity. They're going to see you online and they know that the quality matches what they saw in person. It's all going to build trust. Jason Hartman says this quote, that your personal brand is a promise to your client, a promise of consistency, competency, and reliability. So it's what I've just all been talking about, but your personal brand is all about building that trust, promising to them that you're going to show up competent at what you do, consistent in what you're offering, and that you're reliable in what you do. The last reason why consistency is so important for you is that consistency fosters loyalty, and loyalty is like the next step after trust. So it's like the big kahuna. When somebody has bought from you, they've invested in you, the goal is to make them a loyal customer. And as creatives, especially as small creatives, building a loyal fan base is so important. And bonus fact, it costs a lot more in time and effort and energy to bring on a new customer than it is to keep an existing customer. Building consistency helps you to retain existing customers and make them come back again and again. For example, you're an illustrator and you have an online store, you sold some pins once. What you want to do is create like a consistent brand, a consistent experience, so that the person who bought your pins that one time will come back again and again and again every time you release new products, because it's consistent with what they expect from you. The experience is consistent, it matches your mission and your vision and your values, like it's all consistent, and so they stay loyal. They want more, they love what you do, they know that it's going to be a similar vibe every time and that it's going to be for them. Consistency fosters loyalty, and that is what you want. That is the big goal. So now let's talk quickly about how to achieve consistency. Consistency, like I said, is the third big pillar in my Make Your Mark model and how you build a brand. And consistency is the really important part at the end that I told you about, why, all those statistics, we know why. And there are three main ways that you can do this. Number one is to outline your guidelines. You might have heard about brand guidelines before, and I kind of like to use the Pirates of the Caribbean analogy or quote, that is, they're not rules, they're just guidelines. It doesn't mean that you have to be super strict on everything that you do and you only have very limited ways to use your brand. It's actually about just giving you some parameters to work within. And also, if you end up hiring a VA or like a video editor or whatever, you can give these guidelines to them and help keep your brand consistent over time. And it makes the whole process of creating new things way easier for you. So you create a brand guideline, so it can be a PDF or a living document that shows what your colors are and your fonts and your patterns and everything that you did in the creativity portion of building your brand. It brings all of that together into some sort of document or website that you can use, that other people can use, that makes creating new assets or experiences for your brand easier, quicker, faster, and more reliably consistent. So that's step number one. Make some guidelines. Outline your guidelines. It's really important, and it doesn't have to be a massive document, be anything huge. It doesn't have to be like 50 pages. It just needs to be somewhere where you know all of this stuff is. It can be Trello, it could be Asana, or whatever your tool of choice is. It can be anything that just is a place to hold all of your brand goodies. Step number two is streamline your systems. This is all about making templates, looking after your file and folder systems and everything. It sounds super nerdy, but it's really going to help. For example, you might use templates for your YouTube thumbnails, maybe you use templates for your Patreon posts, Instagram carousels, stories, Facebook events, and you have a template for those. It's all about making things consistent and easy for you to make things consistent. So streamlining your system and giving you simple, fast, quick, easy ways to create consistent content and consistent assets for your brand is really going to help. So streamline your systems. Lastly is managing your brand maintenance. Again, it sounds kind of nerdy and maybe a little bit boring, but it's so important. One thing that I always say is that branding is not a one and done thing. It's something that you come back to again and again to refine and iterate on and see if it's working, make small changes, and look after over time. One of the best things you can do for your brand is put some time in your calendar every quarter, every 6 months, however long you want to do in between your check-ins. Set some time in your calendar to review your brand every so often. This means you can check in on your brand, check in with your audience and see how they are enjoying your brand, what their experience is like. Manage your brand on a regular basis rather than getting 3 years down the track and realizing it hasn't been working for 2 years. You can check in every 6 months or every quarter and make sure that you are looking after your brand and that everything is consistent and that everything is working. These are the 3 main really practical ways that you can make sure that your brand is set up for success when it comes to consistency. Next week, I'm going to be talking to you about your social media profiles and how to be consistent across those. That's really, really important. So look forward to that one next week. I hope that's been really helpful for you. It's kind of convinced you or given you a little bit more information about why you need to be consistent in your brand and why it's important for you as a creative to think about creating a consistent brand. If you've got any questions about any of this, you can join my free Facebook group. I do mini masterclasses on the podcast topic on the Thursday after it's released. You can ask any questions. We can talk through the topic a little bit more. Come and join us in the Facebook group. It's really fun and I love doing the masterclasses every Thursday. But you can also leave any comments in the description below. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's been helpful. I can't wait to talk to you next week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below how you are going to make your brand consistent. What are you going to start working on? Are you going to create your guidelines? Are you going to start streamlining some of your systems? Or maybe you're just setting that time aside in your calendar to manage your maintenance. Let me know. I'd love to chat more about this nerdy but cool and exciting topic with you. Let me know in the comments and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Brand Your Passion and choosing to spend some time with me learning about branding, business, and all things creativity. You can find more episodes just like this one at blackandwhitestudios.nz/brandyourpassion. If you liked this one, you can tap that subscribe button so that you're notified about every new episode. And if you've got a spare second, I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. I would love to hear from you and hear about how you're enjoying the podcast. If there were some helpful goodies in this episode for you, it would mean the world to me if you could screenshot your podcast player on your phone right now, hop over to Instagram or Twitter and tag me at Black and White Studios. That's at BLCKWHT Studios. By subscribing and reviewing and sharing, you're helping me to reach more creators just like you so that together we can make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. I really can't achieve this mission without you, so your support means the world. I'll talk to you in the next episode, but until then, keep creating.